Hi, this is Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to my studio. And today I'm going to do a watercolor demonstration to do some discussion. And I'm broadcasting live from my studio onto YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and later on in Twitch, and later on in Instagram. And then in my studio today with my wife Gloria.
Welcome everyone.
And she'll be monitoring the broadcast and also the chat room. I got the chat room live. I hope it's working. My little technical difficulty there with the interface, but we'll try it. Anyway, the broadcast is live, and what I'm going to do today, we're going to do a demonstration, and I'm going to do what I call how to mix color. And I'm going to do it three different ways. I'm going to show you three different palettes that I'm using, and three different subject matter, and play around with the paintbrush and do a little bit of changing here and there. And I think you'll learn a lot from this. So let me go over to my overhead camera and let me get started. Okay, the first thing I want to show you, I made up this chart for the demonstration today, and I'm going to hold it up, and I think you should take a snapshot of that and use this as a reference. I think it's a very good one. I'll hold it very steady here for a couple of minutes, do a nice snapshot, and you can also, after the program, you can also hold the video film replay, and you can also take another snapshot of it. Okay, what it is how to mix color. And what I've got here, and I've got my palette laid out the same way. I've got three colors, the three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And what I'm going to do is show you my procedure for mixing. And what my premise here is that you can mix any color on the color wheel with just these three colors. And I also add a little bit of black and a little bit of white. Payne's gray. I have Payne's gray in the palette, and also Chinese white over here on the side. You see there's black up here and white down in the corner. All right, so I'm going to get started here. As far as the subject matter, I'm going to start out with a little landscape here. This is something I took a picture of over the weekend, and I thought it'd be interesting. I got some blue sky. I got green, so I can move that mixture. And I've also these rooftops. I'm going to change those around. Probably make a little bit of red or orange in there. And I got a gray mixture over here. And then I got this light yellow, or almost a yellow ochre. And I got some nice shadow down here. Use some purples and stuff like that. So I can use all the colors of the primary and secondary colors here, which I want to use to mix. So this is my subject matter for today as a reference. Now I've taken the photograph, and I drew up my little, here's my little concepts design schedule, just a drawing here on my drawing pad to get the elements here in the painting today, just for demonstrations. And what I did, I've transferred that to, now what I've got on my painting board now, I've got a half sheet of Gemini watercolor paper. And, hold this over there, please. Just hold it. It's a half sheet, which measures 30 by, in this case, it's 11 inches, 15 inches tall, and 22 inches long. And I'm going to use this half of it first. I've transferred that sketch here to this half sheet here of the Gemini 140-pound Gemini watercolor paper. I've got the sketch here of the buildings and the trees and so forth. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to start now with this is a demonstration on mixing colors. So the subject matter is just whatever it is. In this case, it's a landscape. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to mix the sky color, and up here in the top, now I'll try to set this, I'm going to use my palette the same way I've got this laid out here on my chart. The blue at the top, the yellow in the middle, and the red here at the bottom, okay? And so as I do the mixtures here, I'll follow along here on my palette with the description here I have on the charts, okay? So the blue is at the top, the yellow, red is at the bottom, all right? So let's, I'm going to mix a little bit of blue up here now. Now, okay, the sky, it's a light blue. So I'm going to take this is ultramarine blue, and I'm going to add just a little bit of water to that. So I want a lighter value. So to lighten the value up, I have two ways of doing that. I can add water to the color, or I could add white to the color. In this case, I just want to add a little bit of water to it. So that'll lighten up the color by adding a little bit of water to the mix. Okay. Now what I'm going to do up here at the top is I'm going to use my spray bottle, my Paddle in the Bottle dot sprayer, sold exclusively on Everett's Watercolors, and I'm going to use the dot sprayer, and I'm going to put a little bit of water up here in the sky, just some drops, okay, and that'll give me a kind of a uneven pattern. And I'm going to use a brush stroke here. I'm using the 3/4 inch Holbein brush, 3/4 inch, and I'm just going to go across there and put a little bit of sky color in. So this is a light blue, kind of match the from the photograph a little bit, just a little blue sky. And I might leave a little patch of white up there, just to indicate maybe it's some clouds or something like that. Again, this is just to show today's demonstration, just to go over how to mix colors. So that's the light blue sky. That's all I want to do. All right. Now the next color I'm going to do, I'm going to come down to the reference photograph. I'll refer back to that. Okay, I'm going to mix up a lot of greens. I'm going to mix up a lot of green colors. So I could use yellow and blue to mix the greens. Yellow and blue. So you can see here what I've got here on my chart. I got the yellow and the green. I'm going to get a green, a mixture here by adding those two colors there, and I can come up with quite a variety. I'll make sure the blue here is nice and wet, and I'll come down about that far right there. That's ultramarine blue, and my yellow is permanent yellow lemon down here at the bottom of the palette, bottom left, and I can start mixing that in with the blue, and I'll get some greens. And I'm going to start with a lighter green color. Add a little bit of water, just add a little bit of water to that to lighten it up just slightly. And I'm going to go in now, I'm going to put in the light color of the trees. And I can use the brush strokes here to get the top of the trees. Use a little brush strokes here. Just again, I'm just putting the light blue, light green colors here in the top. Just breathing. Let me move this out of the way here. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit darker now. I'm going to add a little more blue to that yellow. You get a darker, so by adding more blue, I'm going to get a darker green. Okay, as I come across these rooftops now, I'm going to use this edge of the brush, and I'll get that green color right up next to that object, which is the rooftops. And I thought this would be interesting. Again, I found this subject over the weekend. I did a walk and sketch on my normal walk and sketch deal, and I said, well, I'll use that in my demonstration. This makes a good subject. All I wanted was something to paint, a little simple landscape, and so I'm painting around the edges of that building, rooftops, and I'm adding more color now. A little more blue to this, to a little more shadows around the back of this building and on the trees. And so when I put in this section here, there's a couple little smokestacks there, or little vents on the top of the building. I'll leave that alone. Okay. Now we can go ahead. I'm going to go ahead now add a little more texture up here to the trees, and I can work on a little bit more. Again, this is not going to be a painting. This is going to be a demonstration, and mainly I'm concentrating on making color changes. And well, now I'm going to let's see. I let that dry a little bit because I want to go in and get the building, the tops of the building. So I think what I'll do is add a little bit of, to use my spray bottle again. Now what I do with the dot spray bottle, I go in and I put a little water in there. That will give me some texture in those trees. Light tapping motion. And now I'm using the edge of the brush here to kind of give me some little edges, and working edges on the trees. So a little brush work along with the changes of color of the thing. So I've added a little blue there to that tree. And I'm going to put a little touch of shadows in here now. Take that blue. Now I'm going to go in and get a little more color in there on those treetops. Okay, that's enough for that there. That's enough for that there. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go to the red. So I'm going to go to the red color and maybe mix a little yellow. Red and orange. I'm going to go in and put the color now. If I mix the red with the yellow, I'm going to get orange. Okay, we should know that. It's a pretty simple thing to remember. So let me go to my red down at the bottom. You can see I'm going to get quite a mixture here on my palette before I'm finished. And now I'm going to make sure when you change colors, especially from red to yellow, when you go from here, you got to make sure your brush is clean. So I'll come down here. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that yellow, mix it in with that red, give me a nice orange color. Okay. And what I'm going to do is primarily I'm going to use the red. Now I'm going to go in now and I'm going to paint in before I do that though, just make sure as an artist, I'll make sure I have a dry area up here. Especially when I'm going to put one color next to another. So I'll get this dark here, green, make sure it's dry before I put another color in. Because if I put the colors on there and it's still wet, it's going to bleed into each other. So this way I want to make sure I got a nice dry edge. Okay, all right. So there's a lessons learned there. Make sure you dry your area before. Now I'm going to go in with another brush stroke here, and I'm going to put this red rooftop. Now these weren't as red in the photo, but remember, as an artist, you can make these colors any way you want. You don't restrict yourself to what you have in the photograph. You can change these colors to whatever you want to do. And that's what I'm doing here. And I'm going around those little vent pipes on top of the roof. Yeah, not going to worry about too much. I'm not worried about getting really perfect on this. Just trying to get a little demonstration here of how to change colors. Now, let's see. Now I'm going to use a little more red over here. Now I'm going to use the other rooftop. Going to be about the same, but let me change the color. Let me make it a little more orange on this one. Just put a little more yellow into that mix. The rooftop's a little further away, so it might have a little bit of a different change in the color. And you won't notice too much difference from it, but I will. If you look up close to it. This comes on down, and the rooftop, these kind of come across here. Okay. All right, now I'll go back to the photograph. You see here, what I've done now is I've added the two rooftops here, but I made them on a red and an orange color to give them a little more contrast with the green and so forth. Okay, now what I want to do now is let's see. I think I'm going to go back to that light blue because the front of these houses have a light color, and they're white, but I'm going to make them a light blue. This is the sunny side of this building over here. A little bit on the edge. Over here. Okay. And I think I'll leave that one there alone. I'll leave it alone. This is a little bit blue. There's a little bit blue on this one here too. Just the front. You just see the front edge of this one. Okay, all right. I gotta let that dry. Okay, now over here on this side here, before I get to that, let me
We
dry
have
this.
a comment that these are beautiful colors.
Well, the colors are right out of the palette. I mixed them up a little bit. Thank you very much for your comment. That's I want to do is pick this up a little bit. Just blot it dry a little bit. Blot it dry. Okay. So we're not going to be. It's not going to be a really finished painting today. I just want to demonstrate color mixes. Okay. Now I got some trees here. Go back to the photograph. I got a bunch of trees here in front of the building, so I'm going to put those in. Okay. So I got to go back to the lighter color here. I'm going to go back to the. I washed out the brush. Make sure it's clean. I'll pick up a little more yellow and go in and mix it with that green. And I'm going to go in now and put in some more. Put in these trees that are in the foreground here. Yeah, this is a half sheet of watercolor paper. I haven't got it glued down or taped down. Just letting this hang loose here. There's a tree over here on this side of the building. This is just going to be a very rough demonstration, but I'm just really want to concentrate on the color shifts and the color mixing and how I can get those colors. So it's going to be a real quick demonstration here on this little landscape here, just a little simple demo here on this, because I want to get to some other couple of things I think are even more interesting too. We'll continue on with this demonstration of mixing colors. This is just one example that I have. And there's some little small trees over here on this side over here. This will turn out to be almost a watercolor sketch, where it's not going to be a lot of detail. And then I can go in here now with a little darker mix of the blue and yellow to get a darker green. And I can go and put a little more shadow. I can put some shadows in here on these little trees here. That'll break them up just a little bit. Give them a little dimension. Okay, that's kind of rough. All right, now the next thing I want to do is so I mixed the three primaries, and I've got the green and the orange. But now I want to concentrate now on turning. I need a light brown. I need a gray color and a light brunette. So let me show you this one here. Let me get this fence line here in front. So what I can do here is I can, if I look at my mixing chart, if I take the yellow, if I take the red and orange, which gives me if I get the red and yellow, it gives me an orange. Now add yellow to it. I add the blue and the red together, it gives me a purple, and I add yellow to it, I'll get a brown. See that? There's red plus blue, then yellow. So far I put two colors. Now I'm going to put all three together, all red, yellow, and blue all together, and I should get a brown, which will be the brown color I want to get here, the light brown color I want to get here on this foreground. Okay, so let's try that. I'm going to take the blue, ultramarine blue, and I'm going to mix it in with that red. It'll give me like a purple color. Okay, that's a red purple right there. Then I'm going to take some of the yellow now. Some of the yellow. And come in here and, oh, look at that. Now come down here and test it out. Come down here to the bottom of the sheet here. Now, you know what? That color right there, if I was to look at that, And I have another sample here. By adding those two colors, I got the purple from the blue and red. I added the yellow, lemon yellow. I mixed it up. I got this brown. And look at this. This is burnt sienna on a separate little porcelain panel I have. That's burnt sienna right out of my palette. Now here is my mixture of burnt sienna. And those two are coming together right on top of each other. Look at that. So that's burnt sienna if I wanted to get a brown. Now, but I need it for yellow ochre. I need to get a little bit lighter. So I'm going to add a little more yellow to that. A little more yellow to that mixture there. Let's test that out. Okay, now look at that. I'm looking at my two colors here. This is yellow ochre out of my palette right here. That's yellow ochre, and that's the one I just mixed up right here. I took that mixture of what I did for the red and orange and a purple with the yellow. I got this burnt sienna mix, and then I add a little more yellow to it, and I got the yellow ochre. Okay, so that's the color I'm going to make this wall out here. So what I'll do, make sure I have enough color here. I'll make sure I have it now. I'll make sure I have enough now. Okay, then I'm going to paint this wall. Okay, that's that yellow orange, or it's that brownish wall that's in the front of this landscape. This is on top of a bridge overpass, and I was looking over I was at the top of the ramp here, overlooking the roadway, and this had some houses which showed the housetops, and so I sketched it while I was there on location, and I went into my sketch journal, and I said, well, I'm going to use that today as my subject matter. So now get more yellow. So now there's my yellow ochre mixture, and if it gets a little bit brown on you, just add a little more yellow to it. I'll get right back to that yellow ochre. Now remember, watercolor is going to dry a little bit lighter, so it may look a little bit dark when you put it down, but with experience, you'll find out that it will dry a little bit lighter. So you want to make sure you got a nice rich color there, and when it dries down, it'll be lighter. Okay, so that's that yellow wall here I have in the front on the side. It's actually a barricade on the side of the road there. Okay, but I got that mixture from the palette with the red, yellow, and the blue and red got the purple, and I added the yellow to it, got me the brown, and I added more yellow to it, it got me to that yellow ochre. Okay, that was the secret there. Okay, now what I want to do now, I want to take this brown mixture over here, and I want to add a tint of black to it, just a tint. Because I want to get a gray. In fact, I could add a little bit of blue to that too. Get a little blue in there. Add a lot more water. Okay. So I'm playing around there with let's try that color out. Okay. It's a little bit light. Put more water in that. Get a touch of blue. So I'm mixing that up. Get a little touch of blue in there. So you know, my favorite mixture was blue with burnt sienna. So what I'm doing here is actually getting the same mix. A little more blue. The blue cools it down. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's what I want. Okay, now so this gray mixture I just mixed up with the brown. I didn't really need the burnt. I didn't really need the Baines gray. I put in the ultramarine to get it the tone I wanted. Okay. All right, and now I look on the value now. I want to get nice and light, so add some water to that mixture. All right, now I can take that and go up here and put this gray into this rooftop over here. If you look at the photograph, that's got a gray rooftop, so I'm going to make it gray. So I mixed the gray by putting a little bit of burnt, a little bit of ultramarine in with that mixture I made for the burnt sienna, the orange and the yellow. Look at that. Look at that. That's the gray. All right, now what I'll do now is I'm going to lighten it up. Let's see what I can do. Yeah. Put a little more blue. I'm going to put just a touch more blue in with that mix. I'm coming over here now. Need room on the bigger palette. So I'm lightening up now, real light gray. I'm going to do the front of this building, which is really, it really should have a little more blue in it. Make a real light blue. I'm gonna make, clean this up a little bit here. Light blue with a little bit of that brownish black, and cover this front of this building with a little bit of that. Okay. There's two little windows there I can keep out. That's over here. So I made that into a light tint of gray on this particular building over here. Okay, and also there was, if you look at this roadway here, it was also gray. I can use that light gray here I just made. And I may have to make a bigger batch. So I start with the blue and add in that little bit of gray over here, blue with the gray. And then that'll be the gray road side, or the road surface next to that wall I had. So it's a light gray. So I use a little bit of that gray mix I use for the rooftop, add a little bit of light real blue and a lot of water to that to kind of lighten it up, and also add a little bit of blue to the color. Okay. All right, well let's blow dry that one. I'm going to blow that right, okay? I got one more mixture I want to do, and then we'll finish off this little sketch. Okay, so this is really a practice sketch. It was just a plan to show you the changes of colors, how to mix colors to get the scope, and it's not really going to be a finished painting. It's just going to be kind of a practice sketch, which is what you need to do. You need to get colors out on a palette, and you need to get a design of some type going, and you need to play with the mixtures. It's dry enough, okay.
You know what I was thinking?
Yes?
I need to get some watercolor paper and dip it in that palette and get some beautiful backgrounds for one of my cards.
I'm going to do that. Gloria just said that. I'm going to wait till I'm finished here. I'm going to do that. Now, I'm going to do that. You gave away my secret.
Oh,
all right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to mix up for my shadow now. There's a shadow. If you look at the photograph, there's a shadow across the road here. So my shadow is going to be a little bit of purple. So that's where I mix the ultramarine blue up here and mix it in with a little bit of a touch of red. Now I want this to kind of be on the blue side, a cool side. So I'll add a little more blue to that. So I get that purple mauve. It looks like a mauve. Mauve is like a purple color. That's it right there. That's the color I want. Okay, I mean, then go here, a little test sheet here. Okay, so it's got to be dark. It's got to be a dark shadow here against the wall, and then a dark shadow across the road. So let's see. Now, before I do it, though, I want to mark in. I'm going to mark in a little pathway here. Okay, so I took a pencil and kind of marked in where I want to put where I want to design in where I'm going to put the color. So this is going to be the shadow now. Cast the shadow. There were trees behind me as I was standing here taking a photograph of this scene, and as I was sketching this, in my sketchbook. Okay, then I'm going to continue on down now with the shadow on the road. Now I mixed up a little bit of what I did. I mixed up ultramarine blue with Pyrrole Red to make that violet. Actually, it's a bluish velvet violet. And that's the shadow pattern. And you'll notice that as a shadow, it needs to be dark enough, but you should be able to see the colors underneath. And if you see from this, you'll see that when I put the purple over top of this yellow area, it darkened it, which is what it should do. And then when I went down and put it on top of this blue area, it darkened to another color. And that's exactly what happens. If you look at the photograph, there's a darker color here than it is down here on the bottom. It's a darker color. Okay, so you should see some of the color coming through the shadow. Okay, well that's the summation of that one. And now I used my mixing chart here. I call it a mixing chart. Red, yellow, and blue. I mixed purple. I mixed brown with the green and orange. And so I used this chart here with my palette to do that. Now Gloria had a good suggestion here about taking the colors. Now before you transfer this to a piece of paper, you want to make sure it's wet. Sometimes you get little dry spots that won't pick it up. So make sure the colors are wet. So I just use a dot sprayer, wet the palette. I'm going to take a piece of cardstock here, little 4x6 card, and I'm going to lay it right into the mix. Press it down. And I'm picking up the color out of my palette. Okay, now just lift that up to see what happens. This is kind of like a surprise. Okay, now there's the colors I get. Okay, I'm going to take it back and maybe pick up a little blue. Okay, all right, now I can set that aside and let that dry. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go to my next demonstration. Put this aside, and I'm going to move over here. Now I'm going to move over to my overhead camera, my close-up. All right, here's I have another demonstration I want to show. All right, so I'm going to put this over here. Okay, now I'm done with this. Now I have several of these panels. I have several of these panels these are bathroom tile. You buy them in any hardware store. And they're porcelain, just like my porcelain palette. These are porcelain. Now what I want to do here is I want to take some colors, red, yellow, and blue. So and what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze out some here on my, this is my palette I'm going to use here. So I'm going to take ultramarine blue, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little strip of that on there. We'll put that aside. I don't need any more of that. Let's see. Put there. Then I'm going to put yellow in the next. My next color is going to be yellow. This is yellow lemon, permanent yellow lemon. And I'll tube that. I'm taking it right out of the tube, And this is a Pyrrole Red. I'm going to squeeze it out right out of the tube. Okay. All right. Okay, now I got a small palette knife, and what I'm going to do, I don't want to mess my chart up here. I'll set that aside. Okay, put this up in the center where you can see what's going on, and then I'm going to squeeze out. This is Chinese white. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of white. Let's see, about half the size, maybe a half or a third. I don't need as much with the yellow. Maybe a little bit over here. Okay. Maybe a little more white over here. Okay. All right. So I squeezed the watercolor paint right out of the tube and have it mixed. Now I'm going to take the palette knife. Now this is ultramarine blue and Chinese white. This is yellow lemon and Chinese white, and this is Pyrrole Red with Chinese white. Now I'm going to take the palette knife and I'm going to mix these up. So I'm mixing, now I'm mixing, this is another mixture. Another way to mix. I've used the palette knife in watercolors before. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so that's one with the white, and now I'm going to mix the white with the yellow. And what that does, the yellow, of course, you can see the different colors. You can see the different colors here of. I'm going to put a little more white in this one. A little more white into the yellow. Okay, Chinese white. And mix that in with the yellow, so you see a difference in the shade. And you don't want to mix it perfectly. You just want to mix it up so there's kind of a mixture there. And then I'm going to take the yellow, the white with the red. You can see the colors you get there. Another mixture. Okay, now I'm going to put a little more white in this one too. So what I'm winding up is my formula then was about equal color is about what I had. I squeezed in more white on both the yellow and the red. So I wanted to get a marbling effect there. Okay, so by those mixtures you can see that the white mixed in with the blue, the yellow, and the red. Okay, that's mixing those colors raw. Now, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this and I'm going to mix all three colors together and see what I can come up with. What happens is that you'll get colors that you never could imagine you got out of a particular combination. And what you'll find is you'll see the beautiful grays. When you mix the three colors together, the three primaries, and you can have three different primaries. I mean, and you can get a different mixture. There, you get the reds, the yellows, and the blues, but then you get that grays. Look at the grays in there. Beautiful gray. Okay, that's what I want you to see, that by mixing three colors, remember, just like in the big palette, when I mixed the three colors together, the red, the blue, and the yellow, I got the gray mixture. It was actually brown, but then I added another color to it, more yellow to it, and I got into a gray by adding more blue to it. Okay, so that's what I get. I'm going to mix this up just a little bit more. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take another card. This is another 3x5 card, 4x6 card, whatever it's called. And I'm going to stamp this one also. Stamp over and just stamp it. Just press down on it lightly. I'm going to pick that up. Whoa. Now, that's going to dry a little bit differently. It's going to be a little bit thicker paint, but it's going to be different colors, different variety of different colors. You can see the red, the blue, and the yellow, but you can also see the mixtures in there, and the gray. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. Okay, so this is more of a fun thing about showing how to mix colors, and I did it with a palette knife. I squeezed out some paint on the palette and mixed them together without a brush. I think the palette knife gives you more control when you're mixing. It's almost like an oil painter or acrylic painter would use a palette knife. Okay, now I got one more little demonstration I want to pull off here. Now here's another palette. Here's another palette I've used. I've got some. I played with this a little bit before, but I'm going to use the same colors: the red, yellow, and blue. And what I'm going to do here is that, boy, I've got paint all over my hands. I'll be all right. Look at my hands. That's the fun part about painting. Of course, it's watercolors. It wipes right up with water. Let me take this away. I'm going to take this away. Put that over there. Okay, I'm going to paint some flowers now. Now this is the poppy. And you can see the oranges and the reds and the yellows in here. Isn't that beautiful? And some dark colors here in the center. And I got the greens in the background. So that is a perfect example of showing color mixture right there. And then I've got another scene here of the more poppies with a background of gray for the brickwork and so forth. So, and I've also got another photograph here of an apples, yellows and greens and so forth. But you can take photographs, you can take still lives, or like I have here, I got brought real apples today. This is a red and a yellow apple. I'm going to paint these today, along with the flowers. So you get to go to the grocery store and pick out the colors you want. So let's start out with I'm going to start out with the flowers. I'm going to put the poppy over here on the right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two separate brushes. I'm going to use these two round brushes now. This is a number 10 round, and this is a number 16 round Holbein. And I'm going to get the colors out of my palette and bring them over here. So I need some more yellow. So I'm going to take. I think what I'll do is take. I think I'll take this one, number 15. Now I'm going to put yellow in the center, just like I did with my. So there's yellow in the center of the palette. Okay. Now I'm going to take the second brush here. So if you're working with multiple colors like reds and yellows, you want to use a separate brush. Otherwise, you're going to get mixtures. But you're going to get mixtures ahead of time that you don't want to have. You don't want to get mixtures until you're ready for it. All right, now let me pick up some more yellow, and I'm going to mix that in with the red, and I'll get the orange. Okay, that's a beautiful orange. Okay. Then over here, my last one. I think what I'll do is I better pick up a third brush. Pick up my ultramarine blue over here. Ultramarine blue. So this is the same setup I had on the large palette. This is just a little strip of ceramic tile. And you can buy it, as I said before, you can buy it at any hardware store. Just go into their tile area and pick it up. If you're mixing with colors and mixing changes, you got to keep the brush clean as possible. Pick up some more yellow. I want a little bit of green over here. A little bit of green. There I am. I got the green. Okay. So there's my palette, just like I did with the big palette. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint some colors. First thing I'll do is with the big brush, I got to wash out my brush. A good lesson learned is to continually either have multiple brushes, 2 or 3 or 4, and have them ready to go, or make sure you wash out your brush before every mix. So what I'm going to do is start with that orange. I'm going to start with the orange. Up here, now I'm going to get the orange part of that flower. So I'm going up here now. This is the poppy. I'm going to pop that in. So I'll start with the orange color. It's kind of got petals around the outside of the poppy of orangey red. So I'll start with this. Yeah, I'm still working off this half sheet of watercolor paper. This is a half sheet of Gemini paper, 140 pound, cold press. I would recommend you just get a piece of scratch paper, or just any paper you're using for practice, and let that set and dry for a little bit. I got some other ones over here I want to go ahead. I got other poppies I want to pop in over, so I'll put some more. I'll paint them all at the same time. I'll get some more orange over here on that one, and I got another one down here I can put some orange on. That way I don't have to remix the orange again and again. Okay. All right. Now we'll set that brush aside for a moment. Now I'm going to pick up some of the red now. And I'm going to go into the red side. It's the inside of the poppy. I'm getting that red center part. And if I wanted a hard edge, I could have dried it out and done it. But I'm going to do a soft edge so that they kind of mend together a little bit. They don't have to be. This doesn't have to be perfect. This is more of a demonstration of color mixing. But I made the orange out of the yellow and the red, and I made the, now this is pure red now. This is the pure, and I can mix up a little bit of orange in there. Going into the center, and this one over here, again, this is one off to the side, so it's not as much detail over here. There's one up here with a little bit of red in. Okay. All right. I'll let that dry a little bit. Now on the monitor, they really look where they really are popping out. You can see those colors just popping out of the monitor. Let me set this aside. Just let me scoot it over just a little bit so you can see that. Okay. And I think what I'll do next is I've got to take another brush. Okay, this is the fourth brush. So this is a small one. Because I'm working on that center part, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that yellow and I'm going to get the yellow in there first. There's yellow, just pure yellow now. This is the lemon yellow. I'll put that in the center. That's what's in part of the center of the poppy. And I can take that blue now. I got the blue. I can pick up a little bit of red. Now, adding a little bit of red to that now, I'm going to change it to a purple is darker than blue, believe it or not. Purple is the darkest color in the palette. So I'm using, really actually, I'm using the blue, ultramarine blue mixed in with red to get that dark purple. And this is the dark part of the flower. Okay. And over here, I'll put a little bit of black around here. I'll call it black because it's the darkest color. I mixed it with red and blue, ultramarine blue, with a Pyrrole Red. Gives me a dark purple. And purple is the darkest color on the palette. Okay, that's going to be drying a little bit, so let that dry. Now I can go ahead and mix up a little bit of, I could use my flat brush, why not? I've got the green mixture, so I'm going to go ahead and use the green. I'm going to put a little bit of green, and I can put some stems in. So I'm going to go here with, this is the main one here. Put a little bit of green. I'll put some green around now. Now the red against the green will make this pop out even better. Get a little leafy look. And this is not exactly what the photograph is, but it's something I just want to put green around it just to give it an outside look against the red. Red and green is a nice, good combination for contrast. They're opposing colors, which is complementary. And the orange and blue is another complementary color. So a little bit of ground here, a little bit of green around this will give it a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of contrast, another contrast color. And I mixed the, again, another mixture. I made the blue and the yellow together. I got showing mixtures here. And I make one lighter and one darker depending on how much yellow I put in, how much blue I put in. This one over here, and maybe one more. Okay. Okay, let that dry. Now, okay, now I promise you I'll do the apples. As again, I took the real fruit. I got a yellow apple and a red apple. So I'm going to put those here at the bottom. So down here at the bottom here, I drew in 2 apples. So I can use my red and yellow brushes. Let's see. Make sure I got my brushes clean. So I go back into the rinse bucket, clean my brushes. So today has been interesting play day. So I'm using yellow right out of the palette here, right off the same palette I used with the flowers. And you know, I'm using the apple as a model. Yeah, yes. Let that dry a little bit. Going up. And let me. That's the yellow brush. I'll have to remember which side. That's the yellow brush. I'll pick up my red brush and start with the red apple. Come over here. I can set these up in front of me if I don't need it, just to look at them. I had thought about putting these into my still life setup. I said no. I just pull an apple out, set it up on the table. I have some well, imaginary fruit. I got stuff you can buy in a hobby store. That's you can buy plastic fruit, which I have. I have several of those. I have enough to make a display for my still life. They're good. They're good examples. Yeah. You ought to have a few of those in your studio. You have apples and oranges and pears and bananas. Have some flowers. All that stuff is good. Synthetic, the plastic samples, plastic models, good to practice with. Yeah, let that dry a little bit. Now this apple here on the left, it's got a little bit of red in it, So if I want to add a little bit of red to this yellow area, give it a little tone. This apple's a little flatter, a little bit larger. I can make an apple pie out of these. Are so big. Okay. See, flowers and fruit and so forth. You don't have to look for perfection. You just want to find something that it looks like that, and give it a go. Now. What I want to do in this one, I want to put a little bit of, I could put highlights in this. I'll put highlights, I guess, with the white later on. I could have left a little bit. I could have left a little white space for highlights. I'm going to take a little bit of that purple now. I got red here. I'm going to mix a little bit of blue with that over here. Now I'm going to keep it on the reddish side. This is red purple, and I'm going to put the shadow side over here. Have the light coming from this side over here. So I mixed a little bit of blue in with that red to give me a reddish purple, dark value. Now while it's still damp, I'll take a damp brush and I'm going to give it the round, smooth it out so I get a nice gradual value there. And I think over here I don't need much more on the I don't need much more on the yellow apple. Just make this edge a little darker over here to show this in shadow. That's all I have to do. Okay. Then, you know, not for accuracy. Now what I can do, remember I made some brown by taking the blue and the red and made purple, add a little bit of yellow to that. Now see, I'm making brown again over here. I'm making brown. Add a little more blue to that, make it a little bit darker. So now I have a dark brown right there. I had the purple. I made red and blue together, get purple. Add a little bit of yellow or orange into that, gives me a brown. Add some more blue to that, get a darker brown. So now I can go ahead now and I can put in, and move these aside now just a little bit. I can put in the stems. So here I can put in a stem right here with a brown color. And I'll put one over here on this one also. Okay. Now what I can do is take a little bit of that brown and put a little more blue into it, make it more dark. And I can put the, well actually I can use the lighter color here. And make the inside of the apple a little groove. And also I can make this some, on this one I can put a little bit of, make a little bit of green into that because it's got a yellow, has a yellow cast. Okay. And then if I want to finish it off a little bit, I take the my large brush again with the green and I can put in some leaves. Let's see, maybe a little leaf over here. Make it an apple leaf. Turn the brush a little bit, get a little point to that. There. And put a couple leaves down here to balance it off. Make a leaf shape. Yep. Not looking for perfection, just trying to get an impression here of an apple with some leaves. Okay. All right. I had some fun today. I hope you have enjoyed watching this. But this as a review, what I've done is let me take these palettes. Now I've got 3 palettes. I got my large palette over here, large palette in the overhead, which I use with the brushes. Let me take that away. Remember I did the landscape, so let's not remember what we did. So going back to the chart, I used red, yellow, and blue as mixtures. That's all I used. The only 3 colors in my palette I used: red, yellow, and blue. But I added the mixtures to those and made different combinations. Here I made the greens. Here I made the purples. I made the orange. I made the yellow, ochre, and I turned into the purple for the shadow. And even the grays over here. Then over here I did the flowers. Go back to the close up. I did the flowers over here with the oranges on the outside and the dark red with the center. I made the center darker with the purple. I used a dark red with a dark blue to give me that purple center with the yellow. Again, another yellow, green color there for that. I made a couple apples down here with greens. I made a yellow one with oranges and so forth on the shadow, and a shadow pattern here with a little bit of purple. And then you'll notice here I have a little chest sheet here when I was mixing my colors, a little test sheet here to test the colors themselves. Okay, so this chart here was I was trying to show you. This is my how to mix color chart, And you can see this is my chart. I made it up myself. So, but this is a good example of what colors will flow together and how to make brown and also how to make grays by adding in a little bit of white to it or a little bit of dark to it, darker blue, a little bit of white. Okay. So let's go to my close-up. Let's go to my main camera. Wow, that was a workout today. I had 3 palettes going and 4 brushes going. Actually, I had 5 at the end, mixing those colors. But the idea I was trying to demonstrate today is take a sheet of paper, get a design of some kind, get a photograph or get some real, like a fruit or whatever, or flowers, put them in front of you, and then just start mixing. And start with just the primary. Get a red color, a yellow color, and a blue color. You can have any style. I use in the colors of my palette. You can use the colors in your palette. And take those colors and mix them together and come up with another combination of colors. And I think the one I really like is the one here that I did with right out of the tube. I mixed that together and just made a mess. But you can see the orange, you can see the grays that comes out of that. It's a beautiful combination. Okay, so I'll be back again next Thursday for another demonstration at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight I'll be on with Everett's Simply Drawing with Everett at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on the weekend I'll put out anyone can draw with one line only. It comes out on Sunday. So if you're subscribed to my channel, you'll be notified of all my next live videos. So give me a thumbs up and a like. I appreciate that. And give me some comments if you have them. We got anybody on here? Brazen? Hi. Okay. I'm going to see you all next week. So later on, hope to see you tonight on my drawing class. I got an interesting subject matter. And I'll be back again next week. So I'll see you next